Good, happy Thursday morning, January 7, 2021. I'm Riley King, and welcome to the morning show with Riley King. It's time to rise and shine, sit back, relax, grab that cup of coffee, and watch this Thursday morning edition of the morning show with Riley King. We got a lot of news coverage to get to you this Thursday morning, so let's get started. First up, we're going to begin with the COVID-19 updates for all of you from the COVID-19 dashboard from Johns Hopkins University of Medicine. Let's take a look at that information for all of you right now before we get into the news headlines. And here is a look at your COVID-19 dashboard from Johns Hopkins University of Medicine. Your global cases are 87,225,457. U.S. cases, 21,305,038. Your global deaths are 1,884,266. U.S. deaths are 361,279. And that is a look at your Johns Hopkins University and Medicine COVID-19 dashboard for this morning. Now, let's get to your other news. We do have updates on what happened in Washington, D.C. This is a live view of the Capitol building in Washington, D.C., as you can see here. As you know, yesterday, violent riots at the Capitol building in pro-Trump supporters broke into the Capitol building. We can tell you that 4 dead in the violent riots yesterday. We can tell you that Trump told his supporters to march to the Capitol building during his speech when he was talking to his supporters in D.C. yesterday. The Trump-Biden transition live updates. Pro-Trump mob storms Capitol. Trump told them to go home hours after urging them to march on the Capitol. President Donald Trump is slated to hand over control of the White House to President-elect Joe Biden in 14 days. Here are your top headlines. Heated confirmation between House members aimed debate over Pennsylvania electoral vote count. Senate votes down objections to certifying Arizona electors. McConnell says U.S. Senate will not be intermitted as session resumes. Pence makes a statement on the Senate floor and reconvenes the session. Biden calls on Trump to step up aimed violence at the Capitol. Heated confirmation between House members aimed debate over Pennsylvania electoral vote count. A brief, intense confirmation unfolded on the floor of the House of Representatives early Thursday morning, with some members appearing ready to come to blows while debating challenges put forth by Republican lawmakers seeking to revise Biden's win. Rep. Conor Lamb, a Democrat of Pennsylvania, he used his 5 minutes to give an impassioned speech during the debate over the Electoral College vote from Pennsylvania. Rep. Morgan Griffiths, a Republican of VA, then jumped in, attempting to make a point of order and asking for some of Lamb's words to be stricken from the record. Pelosi dismissed Griffith because he spoke out of turn. Lamb then told Republicans the truth hurts. As Pelosi banged her gavel, attempting to get the lower chamber in order, several members ran towards the back of the room. Sources, as well as reporters who were in the room, told ABC News that House Republicans and Democrats appeared to be confronting each other in the aisles, and a shouting match ensued about who should sit down. Reps Andy, a Republican of MD, and Colin, Democrat of Texas, appeared to be on the verge of a fistfight, source told ABC News. They were shouting, but no punches were thrown. The heated moment passed just as quickly as it began, and the debate resumed. The House is expected to vote soon on the Republican objections to certify Pennsylvania's Electoral College ballot. Just hours earlier, the Senate voted 97-7 against the measure. And House also rejects the Pennsylvania electoral votes. And we have an update on the winners of the special election in the Georgia Senate, Seat 1 and Seat 2. Let's take a look at the results. And here is a look at those results for you. As you can see, for Seat 1, Ossoff won, Democrat, and Rep. Warnock, a Democrat, won in Seat 2. Both Democrats won the special election in Georgia. ABC News exclusive. Photos of suspected explosive devices found near RNC headquarters. Another device was found outside of the Democratic National Committee headquarters. ABC News has obtained a photo of one of two suspected explosive devices discovered in Washington, D.C. Wednesday. The suspected devices in the photo appears to be wired with a timer and was found adjacent to the Republican National Committee headquarters on 1st Street, SE. Another after the initial device was discovered near the RNC, police searched the area near the Democratic National Committee headquarters building a couple blocks away and found a second device there under a bush. Both buildings after a short distance from the U.S. Capitol, where violent protests broke through police lines and stormed into the complex just over an hour after the devices were discovered. Authorities are still working to determine whether the suspected devices were functional bombs or only designed to appear like explosive devices, according to law enforcement sources. Here is a photo. Take a look. This is a photo of what appears to be an explosive device near the RNC headquarters, as you can see. Bomb technicians used water cannons to blast the devices to initially break them apart and render them harmless. Investigators are examining and recovered pieces to look for clues about how the devices was constructed and about the sources of components, sources said. Forensic experts also conducted chemical analysis on any substances found in the devices to determine if they were filled with explosive material. The Bureau of Alcohol, Tobacco, Firearms, and Explosives and U.S. Capitol Police and Metropolitan Police Department are assisting with the investigation. The investigation is ongoing, the FBI said. Members of Trump cabinet discussing invoking the 25th Amendment, sources say. Many have been horrified by Wednesday's event and Trump's lack of actions. There have been discussions among some members of the Trump cabinet and allies of President Donald Trump about the 25th Amendment, which would be a vehicle for members of the cabinet to remove Trump from office. Multiple sources with direct knowledge of discussion tell ABC News. It is unclear how extensive these conversations have been or if the Vice President Mike Pence is supportive of such action. Many have been horrified by Wednesday's events and Trump's encouragement and lack of engagement to call in resources to stop the protests, the source said. We can tell you that Trump only has 14 days in office. Some GOP senators revise objections to Electoral College certifying after protest storm the Capitol. Several senators who promised to object to certifying changed their minds after what happened yesterday. Former Defense Secretary Mattis says Trump formulated the security breach at the U.S. Capitol. Other former Pentagon leaders spoke out against the violence. Former Defense Secretary James Mattis has directly blamed President Donald Trump for having formulated the security breach at the U.S. Capitol Wednesday, which he labeled an effort to subjugate American democracy by mob rule. Mattis was among the former top Pentagon officials who served under Trump, including former Defense Secretary Mark Esper and retired General Joseph Dunford, who also blamed political leaders spearheading misinformation about the president debate as setting the groundwork for violence at the Capitol. And we are hearing new information that Department National Secretary Advisor resigns after violent protest on the Capitol grounds. Matt Pottinger, the Trump administration's deputy national security advisor, resigned from the White House on Wednesday amid violent protests at the U.S. Capitol. CNN and Bloomberg first reported the news. Bloomberg reported that Pottinger was among those dismayed at the White House over President Donald Trump's role in leading protesters of the Electoral College count. Trump spoke to protesters outside of the White House early on Wednesday. Those protesters then marched to the Capitol and stormed the complex. In the protest, one person was fatally shot by police and 3 others died due to medical emergencies. Pottinger was not the only White House staff who resigned on Wednesday. Stephanie Grisham, First Lady Melania Trump's chief of staff, who was previously the White House press secretary, resigned. CNN also reported that several other staffers resigned from the White House on Wednesday. Pottinger joined the White House in 2019. He previously had decorated military career serving in Iraq and Afghanistan. Stock features rise, adding to Wednesday's gains despite turmoil at U.S. Capitol. U.S. stock features rose in early morning trading on Thursday as investors designated the likely event of Democrat-held Congress and continued to look past the riots at the U.S. Capitol. And switching gears now, let's take a look at your weather for this Thursday. And here's a look at the weather across the United States for this Thursday. As you can see, in New Hampshire is all clear and all across this whole section of the United States. Nice and clear. Down here, you're seeing some mixed precipitation. And over here, you're seeing some rain/thunderstorms and some regular rain as well, all over here. And then over here, you're seeing snow and then mixed precipitation. And then dry in this part of the United States and this part of the United States and all up in Canada as well. And that is a look at the weather across the United States for this Thursday. Take a look at this video. Chickadees eating from a photographer's hand on a snowy day is so mesmerizing to watch. Let's take a look. Okay, and there you go. Very cool video. And switching gears now, let's go to some entertainment news. In entertainment news, Ken Jennings says there are enormous shoes to fill while interim hosting Jeopardy! Let's take a listen to that video from Entertainment Tonight.
The show is trying to move on without Alex Trebek. All-time champ Ken Jennings is guest host next week.
And we hit Ken with the final Jeopardy question I think that's on everybody's mind.
Thank you, ladies and gentlemen.
We can break the news right now. Are you going to be the next host of Jeopardy?
I don't think there's been any decision because it's just such a, it's been such a rapidly developing situation. Nobody expected to lose Alex this soon, and we're still grieving about it, honestly.
The greatest of all time Jeopardy champion.
I spoke to him shortly before he passed, actually, and he was very confident that I could do it. I appreciated his trust.
Ken recently made headlines apologizing after past insensitive tweets resurfaced. The 46-year-old said he wants to own up to unartful and insensitive things. I screwed up, and I'm truly sorry. E.T. has learned Ken has already taped 30 episodes, which he guest hosts. No word on if his Twitter scandal will affect his chances of getting a full-time gig.
The enormous shoes you're filling and the legacy there, I take it very seriously.
Looking ahead, Ken's promoting his new quiz show, The Chase. He's joined by fellow Jeopardy champs James Holzhauer and Brad Rutter and host Sarah Hines for the quiz series premiering Thursday on ABC. So, how does it work? Contestants try to outsmart the three trivia masters for cold, hard cash.
You probably shouldn't have even shown up.
We'll see.
This show has been on in the UK for a while. Will there be tweaks and differences?
There are a few differences. We have a kind of setup where the two chasers who aren't active are watching backstage and offering some kind of, trash-talking commentary, which I just love.
Is there still a competition between the three of you?
Kevin, it got a little fun because when one of them missed a question, rarely happens. It was fun to toss at them that someone else would have gotten that right.
You're about to leave here sorely disappointed.
Do you prepare for these days? Or are you just like sitting down with the encyclopedia?
There's a little bit of that, but it's mostly just paying attention to things and having a certain interest in knowledge.
What is it that America loves about these games that make them really think?
When I was a kid watching Jeopardy every day after school, I was just amazed by the contestants. It's kind of seeing the limit of what the trivia brain can do. I got that big brain energy.
Okay, and there you go. And now let's take a look at your celebrity birthdays for today. And happy birthday to all of these celebrities. We hope they have a wonderful birthday and a great day. Happy birthday to all of these celebrities. And just coming into our newsroom, we are receiving some breaking news. Congress has officially certified the Electoral College victory of President-elect Joe Biden hours after a mob of Trump supporters stormed the U.S. Capitol and following objections to election results in Arizona and Pennsylvania. And it's just coming into our newsroom right now. And thank you for joining us for this morning edition of The Morning Show with Riley King. Have a wonderful rest of your day, everyone. See you back here later on today with more news coverage. And enjoy your day. Goodbye, everyone.